Glenn Thompson is described as a violent enforcer for the Kinahan cartel. I came across very few people like this lad. His time in prison, very violent, attacks on prison staff and the like. His recent attack was a female visitor, a lass visiting him. Violent outburst. She went to hospital with serious injuries. How bad's that? So you're wondering how somebody who is violent in nature, even in prison, most lads out there just got on with the jail. People like this, they're a different breed. The only person I've come across, and I had no dealings with him, thankfully, was Bieber, the American. Shot police officers, killed a police officer in this country. He was in the segregation at Strangeways for a short while. Super dangerous. People wary of him, scared of him. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? If you're scared of someone, how you handle them and manage them, you know, you're gonna have to be very careful. This guy absolutely battered a lass on visits. How's that possible, you're thinking? Where were the staff while she were getting battered? Again, sadly, people of this nature, you know, people will know who he is. I'm sure Irish prison officers, just like a lot of people I met, myself, you know, didn't grow up in a sort of violent criminal background, then these people, they make you wary and they are scary. I don't know how long he attacked or he was allowed to attack this lass for, but he's done a damage. God bless her. When I was at Forest Bank, there was an incident. That's a private prison I worked at. Again, most staff, normal people. There was a on visits. A boxer. He weren't a big lad, maybe lightweight. His missus, partner, mother of his kids, came on a visit. I don't know what went wrong. You're mad, you. Mad. We ended up battering her on visits. There were 3 male staff less than 15 metres away. Somebody pressed an alarm bell. The staff who restrained him, were not the visit staff. They were staff from other areas. A minute, maybe a minute and a half, when you're getting battered by a partner who's a boxer is a long time. One of the governors had a go at the visit staff behind the counter. One of them, big lad, talked a good fight. I weren't getting involved. Not my job. He's a boxer. A lot of people I know can't fight, never been involved. If they saw a lass getting battered, they'd do whatever they could. Put yourself in harm's way, put your face there for that boxer to have a go at. End of the day, the incident didn't last long. The staff coming on, restraining him, he was down the block. Yeah? Dead remorseful. We don't know what went wrong. They did eventually make up. She was the mother of his kids. He was so remorseful, but something that day clicked. So this guy, you know, Ireland will have places where they keep the most strangers. I keep harping on about us over here having a supermax. People who are violent like this need keeping in special conditions. Visits itself, most prisons will have provision for closed visits. Yeah, similar to America. Screen, might be a phone, might not, might be a few holes in inch thick perspex so you can speak to each other. But that prisoner doesn't have access to whoever's visiting him. Loved ones, kids, friend, maybe legal team. Usually legal visits are face to face. In circumstances where people are open to violent outbursts, maybe there's a threat of hostage taking, That's a very real threat, isn't it? That's difficult to deal with. Then they have closed visits. But again, there is a percentage, a small percentage, thankfully, of people who, you know, need, you can't take your eye off them. You cannot give them opportunities. There's always people above, you know, everyone deserves a chance, put them back in normal population, let them have another visit. Them people aren't in harm's way, are they? No, they're not. So, before I left Strangeways, I went on to visits. I weren't working on visits. There's 5 staff to us together. One of them walks up. There was a big lad I knew. Big, daft lad. And he is a bit verbal towards me. I knew him as a young offender. But you know that verbal, that cockiness, when seriously or really the nervous, it was that kind of conversation. One of the lads on visits said lad, giving it me, has received a parcel. I said, what do you mean he's received a parcel? Oh, we've seen him. He's received a parcel and he's plugged it. Down your undercrackers where the sun don't shine. Me. What's he still doing on a visit? Well, we didn't want to cause an upset. There's people still on the visits. Let me tell you now, Strangeways, when I started there, the visits hall was boxed off. The staff working up there, not especially tough, you know, big presence. However, they were professional. Cups, all had lids on. You're not passing anything. No passing over to it. They were there. Yeah. Embrace at the beginning, embrace at the end of the visits. They were careful with kids. You know, people have traffic stuff in kids' nappies. They were boxed off. The cameraman over here, over there. They were on it. When I worked up there, I felt like a fish out of water. You know, you're dealing with members of the public. All sorts of people there. People are angry. People are upset. They can get sarnies and food for the loved ones. Loved ones don't leave the table till they leave. It was professional. Yeah. 2:15, 5 lads there. He's plugged something on a visit. No alarm bell, no nothing. There were virtually nobody on the visit. Did I press the alarm bell? Raise the alarm? Wasting my time, weren't I? So what happened then? Would you go downstairs, Sammy, and strip search him? Coming off a visit. I already knew whatever he'd received was right up his ricker where the sun don't shine. He come downstairs. There was a lass downstairs. They left a lass on her own when prisoners were coming down. 5 lads upstairs. She was new to the job, naive, young and terrified. I says in the room, all right, S, he says. We got on well. He stripped off everything, straight off. Fully bollock naked, bent over and stretched. I can see it now. And stretched the cheeks of his arse. Couldn't see anything. He went back to the wing with a phone or his drugs or whatever. Tough times now. Professional standards have dropped. How we deal with people have dropped. I'm sure Irish prison service and the Scottish prison service are suffering as well. Unable to recruit, not enough staff, inexperienced staff, poor conditions. You know, it's not a job people are going to be flocking to, is it? Thanks for your continued support. God bless you all. That lass, bless her. England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, prison officers everywhere. Like I say, it's a tough gig. Thanks for being the community you are. Me and Brian, totally appreciate it. Here we go, Brian. Brian. Let's have a look at that beautiful face. Oi. Yeah, there you go. Good lad. Thanks for coming. I'll see you.